Question? Simple question. Is this a stimulus or a response? It all depends on your frame of reference. He hurt me. Who was the stimulus? Who was the response? Your arguments in relationship are about who gets to be the stimulus and who gets to be the response. That's what you argue about. Who gets to be the stimulus? Who gets to be the response? If you take your fifth or sixth or seventh or eighth or ninth or 10th response, and she's still giving her first response, which I presume culturally it's dictated that she does that, she gets to be the stimulus and you have to be the response. And then by being the response consistently, you make up all kinds of decisions about yourself. And they make up all kinds of decisions about themselves by how often they get to be a stimulus and you get to be a response. What in your relationship is the balance between number of times you're a stimulus and number of times you're a response? What is your opinion about how many times the source was a stimulus and you were a response? What is the source's opinion about how many times you were a stimulus and you get how big a dispute you'd have? She would say, you made her do it. She's attributing John to being the stimulus always, or almost always. You're claiming that she was almost always the stimulus. Yes? So they have a very, very, very basic dispute right there. Any question about this? In the land of right, wrong, good, bad, all of that stuff, the battle is to find out who gets to be the stimulus and who gets to be the response. It's all about that. When you exit that, when you get out of that, and by the way, in relationship, how many of you bring up your insecurities and then try and cover them up? That dance is all about this. I want to be the stimulus. And if you want to be because this is precisely what you were saying earlier. You want to be the stimulus, yes?
Yes.
Over and over and over and over and over again. Who wins in relationship? In unearned comparative, who wins in relationship is whoever gets to be the stimulus. Can you see how arbitrary that is? Well, a simple question. What was the first stimulus in your relationship? We don't even have any, no, well before high, other things went on. The Big Bang. You got to trace it back to the Big Bang, nothing less. Got to go all the way back there. So, is it getting clear that you're arguing about something that... But I got to get this because I'm going to forget it. In earned comparative, it's about who gives the most attention. The boundary between these two is about who gets the most attention. Within comparative, between earned and unearned, the dance between these two is gets attention and then gives attention.
Is that supposed to be a balance?
You're already completely screwed if it's supposed to be in balance. Because who gets to decide if it's in balance? This is a very trick question. Who gets to decide if it's in balance? Very, very, very trick question. Again, I'm asking a difficult one, but you guys have been doing really good on my difficult ones. Who gets to decide if it's in balance? It's a good answer. Who gets to decide if it's in balance? Patterns. Good answer. Who gets to decide if it's in balance? The mind. Declaration. Who gets to decide if it's in balance?
God.
The universe or God gets to decide if it's in balance. If you're deciding it's in balance, we've already discovered that you can't be trusted. So this is an essential trust that you need in relationship, is that the balance is being taken care of somewhere. Otherwise, you sign up to try and be in charge of their karma. And that will certainly result in dogma.
Kind of like a metaphor for control.
Kind of like a metaphor for control. That was a euphemism for...
So if we cycle through absolute,
a euphemism for a metaphor for control. We're getting in there finally. Do you mind if I just stick this in your ear? I don't think you'll have a baby. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. But remember that while you're doing that, I probably won't be able to hear much but that. Now I really have a headache.
so cycling through absolute is a touch of this.
Yes,
And avoiding that
yes.
is a way
Absolute
Carol
saves
beats
you from these
red.
other things.
avoids I shouldn't be here.
Yes. If to any degree you're left to be the accountant of this, it's your most insecure parts who are going to be in charge of it. Because believe me, that kind of decision filters down to the most insecure, lowly. I don't know if I'm safe with them. Let's let that part decide, because we need a decision that's going to result in safety. Well, guess what? I better leave. That's always the conclusion. I better fight, I better leave, I better hate, I better whatever. How horribly cute. How many of you have battled with somebody for who gets to be the stimulus and who gets to be the response? What's the stimulus? But if you don't have to respond, and she's responding, you end up getting more attention.
But we're always
And if you get more attention, at some point in time, you get to give more attention. And then you give her attention. See, currently, I would be willing to bet you never give her attention unless she's a problem. Or almost never. Yeah. She's learned that she's going to get rewarded. This is very Skinnerian. She's going to get rewarded if she's a problem. What do you think she's going to do? Act up, be a problem.